You know, like the one that got away, but the thrift finds that got away. I don't know, I thought it was a cute title. Anyways, if you're anything like me, you've probably been at a thrift store or scrolling through Craigslist or something, and you've come across something that was so beautiful and so perfect in every way, except it was either way out of your budget, or you immediately messaged the seller and you were like, hey, I can come pick this up literally as soon as possible. I can leave right now. Just let me know the address, blah, blah, blah. And then they respond 2 days later saying that someone else already picked it up, which has happened to me before. And it happened on the worst slash best possible item that I could have ever imagined finding on Craigslist, which I will, save until the very end for engagement and watch time and all of that, because I am trying to like do a job or whatever. So if you've ever had any thrift finds that got away, make sure to let us all know down in the comments, because I am very nosy and I would love for all of us to kind of share in the pain of these thrift finds that got away together. Anyways, if you're new here, my name is Medora. I use they, them pronouns, and I make videos about home design for girls, gays, and theys. So to get into it, okay, we're gonna blur that, but the thrift finds that got away. So these are starting at least 2 years ago. The really bad one that I mentioned in the intro is from like 3 or 4 years ago, but most of these are a bit more recent. So mostly I've just been trying to like either take a picture while I'm out at a thrift store or something, or I've been screenshotting things when I get Craigslist notifications and whatever, So yeah, it's a combination of things that either were way out of my budget, were super perfect, but then I messaged the person and it was gone, or things that just were beautiful but just did not fit in my home whatsoever. We didn't have space for it, we didn't have a functional need for it, stuff like that. So to start off very strong, there was this Viking range at a Habitat for Humanity, and I am so sad that I couldn't get it. It was missing like the knobs and the like cast iron plate thingies that go on top. Why did the light go out? That's not okay. I'm gonna go put this in the freezer for a sec because it is hot. Oh, I don't have my watch on. There we go. That feels better. Okay, let's go check on the plug. Okay. There we go. Okay, that was an ordeal. The reason I went to the Habitat for Humanity this one day is because I was in the middle of gathering materials for a tiny house build, and unfortunately there was not enough room and probably not enough like weight limit on the trailer that I was going to build on, and also my truck was full that day. So unfortunately this did not come with me. It was about $400, which for a Viking range is phenomenal. These things are usually, oh, what was this? This is probably a 30 or 36-inch range, which let's look that up real quick. I'm curious how much those are. I'm pretty sure they're in the like at least $4,000 or $5,000 range, if not $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 range. Okay, let's go with the smallest one, a 30-inch, and we'll go for this green color, which actually, is this the exact? I'll request a quote. That's annoying. But yeah, this is one of those brands that's up there with like LeConte and, oh, there's another one I'm thinking of. Wolf ranges. Wolf, Viking, and LeConte are kind of like 3 of the top brands, especially when it comes to ranges that are built to last for generations. It's definitely a big investment up front, but these are the kinds of ranges that can literally be passed down to your kids. These appliances are not going to break. They're not going to give up on you. And from what I've heard, they do have really good installation people who like show you how to use it, because sometimes fancy ranges can be a little bit like specific, and they also have really good customer service. So moving on, this was when I was a little bit more in my, I don't want to say cottagecore era, but kind of my cottagecore era. I was really into the style that Exo McKenna has a lot on her channel. It's like cottagecore, but like just a little bit more upscale. She has a cottage in Texas that she's been renovating all herself for the most part, and this is absolutely the style that would go in her house. This one I found at the same spot. Again, cottagecore era. I do love a stoneware crock though, like whether it's this simple or it's got something fun and interesting on it. The smaller ones are definitely really good for utensil crocks next to your stove, but bigger ones like this are really good for planters or even like bathroom trash cans. Now granted, it is kind of a pain in the ass if you have to move this as a bathroom trash can, because one place I lived did have one of these as a bathroom trash can, and if you don't have a bag in there, it's going to be much harder to clean. It's just, they're so heavy. So you would have to use this with a bag, or maybe have a smaller like plastic trash can on the inside of it. I don't know, but they're pretty. So this kind of got cut off, but I think I was trying to zoom in a bit. This is just a rug, and I feel like it's really hard to find thrifted rugs that like actually have really good patterns on them. I think it's hard to find rugs in general that have really good patterns and designs on them. But for $55, I was not mad at this. I feel like it's kind of giving a little bit of a cross between Art Deco and Brutalist, and also like a marble tile inlay floor kind of thing, which I'm not mad at. This, okay, so this I actually did end up getting. This was going to be the base of my tiny house. I was going to strip everything down to the trailer because it was only $200. It came with a propane fridge that I ended up selling for $300. But there was a situation where, long story short, I was living out on a farm in an RV and I was trying to build my tiny house there. And we found out about a year and a half in that apparently we weren't legally allowed to live there because the land wasn't zoned for that. And the people who owned the farm did not tell us that up front. So while I did end up getting this, it got stolen by the owner of the land, who said that he would give me $200 for it and then didn't. So, moral of the tangent, make sure to actually vet the people that you are living with or renting from as much as possible, at least on an energy level, because these people were kind of our only option and we were in a big time crunch, and I definitely wish we would have taken a little bit more time to find someone who we actually trusted. This was the inside of it. The floor was falling out in one spot, and I was literally gonna rip everything down to the trailer. This was the fridge that was in there. That would have been a good fridge too. I also came up with a tiny house design that was only 14 feet long, and that would have been really cute too. But I had a harder time finding smaller trailers, and also smaller trailers are so much harder to maneuver and tow. So again, another little tangent, but if you're ever towing anything, go with a short bed truck and a longer trailer. Especially if it's a gooseneck, those three together will make your towing experience so much easier, especially if you've never towed anything before, because something about the geometry of a short trailer with a long bed truck is just so impossible to maneuver. So I would not recommend that under any circumstance. Okay, another range. Again, pretty good price for this type of range. I think it's really pretty. I would love to have a range in my house that looked like this. That is gorgeous. Apparently it's Verona, which I haven't heard of before, so I would definitely look into that brand before buying it. But one thing I noticed is that it apparently was from an appliances store, and it comes with a 90-day warranty, free delivery, install, and haul away. Fully tested, inspected, cleaned, guaranteed to work. Granted, there are a lot of exclamation marks in here, which feels slightly unprofessional to me. But again, like any big appliance or electronic thing that you're getting secondhand, I would definitely look up the company, make sure their customer service looks pretty good, stuff like that. Come here. Come here. Hi. Okay, we need to go through these faster because I will be here all day if I don't. Why are there so many ranges? Okay, to be fair, I was in a building era of my life, and that's just what was happening. This one was a 1940s propane and wood burning range. Very cool, but also not in great condition. Definitely a lot of rust here that would need to be cleaned up, and that's not even too bad compared to the inside of the wood burning area. Like that part, I think was unusable, but very neat find. I did get it for free, and then again, someone stole it as we were moving off of the farm. So I don't like to be paranoid. I don't like... Okay, not again. Anyways, while the plug cools down in the freezer, I know you can't see me, but what was I saying? I was saying that as much as I love to believe the best in people and all of that, don't trust that people won't steal your stuff, especially if you are leaving it unattended for weeks at a time. It's really amazing what difference a light makes, isn't it? Maybe if I switch the two plugs, that might work. There we go. Okay, this one is so cute. I wish I would have gotten this. I can't remember. We were living out in the country for a while, so I think this was probably in the city. It was like an hour away. It's just one of those things that you're not going to go drive an hour for, but I love everything about the design of this. This is such a cute calendar. I love the vintage painting. I love the fonts. I love the phases of the moon. Like, it's just so cute. This table, I think I mostly screenshotted it for DIY inspiration. As long as you have some relatively pretty plywood and some edge banding, this would be a pretty straightforward DIY. I don't know how I feel about the color of this one. This is very red, very cherry, which I have been kind of into cherry recently, but maybe not quite this red. Oh, I don't know if I want to talk about this table. I did end up getting this table. It's still at the old apartment. I love it. It's beautiful. I thought this was a table that I was going to have forever, but I don't know if I'm physically capable of like moving this table to Minnesota, especially with like all of the rest of my stuff because this table is travertine, but this table is so heavy. Like technically you can move it with two people, but you have to stop every like 5 seconds to set it down because it is so absurdly heavy. So if you're considering getting a stone table, just be warned that you really might need to hire movers, and you should probably only get it if you're planning on setting down roots and like being somewhere for a long time. Because as beautiful as this table is, it was not worth it. It was really expensive, at least for what my budget usually is, and it was an absolute pain to move. It's also been a pain to try to sell because no one wants to move an incredibly heavy table, which now I understand why. This TV I was very excited about. It has a built-in VCR player, which is super cute. I have been thinking recently that as the world continues on the path that it's on with AI and climate change and politicians that are destroying the world, I have been very into analog things recently and manual things. So whether it's manual cars or manual hand crank kitchen appliances or old technology that doesn't need a subscription and doesn't need to be like connected to the internet and stuff like that. I did actually end up getting a TV and a VCR player and a whole bunch of like VCRs of my favorite childhood movies, which I am very excited about, but they're in my storage unit for now because I will not be here much longer, they say cryptically. This was another Habitat for Humanity find that would have looked so cool in the right space. It's very big, so you would need relatively tall ceilings for this, but I really would have loved to spray paint this like white and have it kind of blend into the ceiling a little bit, but it, you know, would add a ton of texture. It's giving very like Italian metal filigree type of lights. I feel like there's a name for this style that I'm not remembering, but if I can think of it, I will put it here. This is kind of not a great picture. It's just a bed frame with a really dark wood, and it was like super chunky, and so that's why I liked it. Okay, that's a bad picture. Anyways, this is the TV that I did end up getting. And as much as I love this TV, my one caution is to always ask if there's anything that's wrong with it, because it didn't say anywhere in this listing that one of the knobs was broken, but I realized as soon as I put it in the car that the knob was broken, and I can super glue it back on. It'll be fine, but just a word of caution. And also, this is one of those instances where I think that a fake wood actually makes sense. This is like just plastic, like there's no real wood anywhere in this, and it's just this like vintage wood effect, and I think it makes perfect sense in this context. I don't like it in other contexts, especially like IKEA laminate. Like if you're going to have IKEA laminate, just let it be white or some sort of solid color, because fake wood is not it, except for in this circumstance. Nothing like super impressive, but this is this kind of like style that I feel like has been coming back into thrift stores. It feels very 80s to me, and I actually really like it. Obviously, minus this stain on the top, but that could be sanded down or covered up. This is super cute. And like that other table, I think the main reason I screenshotted this was because it would be a really good DIY inspiration. It's basically the exact same table, except that there's little notches so that the top of the table can kind of just sit in there. And what I love about this is that you could actually not glue anything together so that you could take it all apart and lay it flat, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, might be a really good solution for the next place that I'm going to live. That is a secret for now, but it's a very small space, and so something like that might actually be very useful. A mirror. Honestly, I don't know why this isn't here. I don't love it. It's fine. It's pretty, but it's not like mind-blowingly cool. Oh, I was so excited about this dresser. This is another one that I messaged the person, and then by the time they got back to me, they were like, someone else already took it. It's hard to tell in this photo. Is there another photo? No. It's hard to tell in this photo, but this is a high gloss black. You can kind of see down here. Very, very high gloss, shiny black. And that would have looked so cool in the design that I was thinking of. But alas, life. Or something. This was really cute. I was hoping to come back for this and put it with the very pretty and very not worth it heavy travertine outdoor patio table that I got. It would have looked so cute. It would have been so pretty, but I was just not at a point in my life where I should have been thinking about a really heavy 8-foot stone dining table. So again, before you make any like big purchases about things that are going to be really heavy or inconvenient to move, just like do some thinking about how much it's actually worth it. Now, granted, with that table, I was so convinced that like, even if I was homeless, I would put it in my storage unit and save it for the day that I could put it somewhere. And I was so convinced. I was so in love with this table. And now, a year later, I'm like, this was not worth it. So sometimes you make mistakes. That's okay. Sometimes your mind changes. That's also okay. And it sucks, but that's just how things work sometimes. This was a wool rug that I found at a thrift store. I don't usually find wool rugs. They're usually like acrylic or polyester or something like that. And I thought this was a really weird, neat pattern design thing on there. So I got it. I don't have it anymore because my abusive ex took it with her. And so that's that. Another close-up of that. It was really neat, but I also wasn't fully sure how I felt about it, but it was cheap. So, oh, here's better pictures of that table. Got a close-up. It definitely needed some regrouting. If you can see, it's missing a little bit of grout in here. But overall, it was beautiful. Some cabinets, again, nothing special, but I got them for free. They might have been $30. I don't remember. This was years ago. Again, this was for my tiny house. Things happen or something. This I screenshotted because I thought it was a very unique shape for the most part. And I thought it would be a relatively easy DIY if I ever wanted to recreate this at some point. It's not quite my style. It's definitely giving more traditional with like the beadboard and this like circle cutout with what kind of looks like a butt plug in there. It looks very traditional. It looks very like colonial style kind of. This, okay. I wanted this dresser so badly, but it was just a little out of my price range at the moment. And I do prefer a short and long dresser rather than a tall, skinny dresser. But the reason I really love this, other than that it's solid wood, is that these handles are square and they're the exact same wood and they're just like big and chunky and fun. Obviously, as you can see down here, they are kind of annoying to try to keep straight. So I would definitely not recommend this in like a kid's room or something because that'll just drive you crazy. But if you're the only one like touching these handles and you can just like readjust them slightly whenever they get off, this would work very well. And if you're DIYing anything like this, one idea to consider is maybe making the handles slightly larger and then putting 2 screws through each one of them. That way they won't like twist around and all of that. Oh, here's a good side view. And I love how this is just like a simple angled cut. Like you could just do a block, but that would be a little bit harder to grab onto. But yeah, these would not be too hard to DIY as long as you have some good clamps and a good like work surface to clamp onto, because these will get pretty small like when you're dealing with saws and stuff when you get down to that last cut. This was a really cute idea. I was very into the idea of wrought iron, but this cushion was very gross and stained, and also the bench was not as sturdy as I thought it was going to be, so that's why I left it. But the base of this was very pretty, and I would have loved to have this for like an entryway situation or something. We just didn't have an actual entryway at our last apartment. I'm always on the lookout for unique, interesting lamps, and while I don't love the like very obviously fake kind of gradient to make this look old, I do like the overall style of it, and it feels like it's a very like fun, vintagey, antique-y kind of vibe that you just like don't see everywhere. Oh, this was fun. I do love a fully upholstered bench or armchair or anything like that. Obviously, it's not the most practical, especially for cleaning and just like general maintenance and upkeep, but it's so pretty. I don't even mind this fabric either. Like I probably would have gone with something else and reupholstered it, but I'm not mad at this fabric. This table was something I was kind of considering for a little dining table. I really liked kind of this detail in the corners of how the legs are attached to the tabletop. All of this is made out of just like a sheet metal, and I thought it was so cool. It was just a little bit too small for the space though, which is why I didn't end up getting it. But I thought this would have been like a really fun vibe. This dresser, I don't know if you have seen this dresser all over Pinterest before. This is a horrible photo, but I will try to find the photo that I've seen on Pinterest. This was free. I was so mad about this. I wanted this so badly. I'm in love with this dresser, and again, I think I've maybe seen like 2 pictures of it on Pinterest. But yeah, that was one I was really sad about. This was a wardrobe armoire kind of thing that I was considering sourcing for a client, but that did not end up happening. It was the right vibe. It was just like slightly small and slightly out of budget. So this, okay, while it looks rough on first glance, I believe it's a sleeper sofa that pulls out. So this is the kind of thing that would have been great for small spaces. And I specifically really love the shape of it. Obviously, it definitely needs to be reupholstered. This is very clearly not in good condition, but I do love the overall shape of it. And I especially love that these cushions are just one cushion all the way across, and it's not like 2 separate cushions. I think it just looks a little bit more like modern and updated, and it isn't going to pose as many of the same issues as it would if it were a much longer cushion. Ooh, and on a similar note, apparently Costco sells this sofa, which is also a pull-out thing, which again, I love the shape of. I know this isn't thrifted, but this would look I would still want to reupholster it because not big on the gray, but I love the shape of this so much. And I also really love that it comes with this lumbar pillow that goes all the way across. I usually hate pillows that are included with couches, but this one I really love. And you could reupholster it in a different fabric so that it doesn't look too matchy-matchy. I don't know. This would be so cool. So if you get this Costco chair sofa thing and reupholster it, definitely let me know. This is something that was way out of my price range, but it's just so cool. And this person was selling like so many big outdoor sculpture-y art things. And this one in particular, I thought was really neat. This is definitely the kind of thing that I would have if I don't want to say had a giant mansion because I don't actually want a giant mansion, but if I bought land to do an intentional community on or something, this would be a really fun thing to put on the land. Okay, I know we're not going through clothes as much, but this was on a shirt I found. It was a lime green shirt. I don't know who this kid is, but it just says the kid. So if any of you know this reference, because I assume it's a reference to something, let me know. Mostly I just thought it was hilarious. We've got some art. I'm just really into this type of style. It's very brutalist. I really like the use of like shapes and linear quality and movement and all of that. And I don't know, this was just one that speaks to me. Now, this price was not just for the headboard, it's for a full 6-piece bedroom set. I think my favorite piece is this headboard. I feel like this would be super fun to DIY. But as I'm looking at it, all of it, like I love all these things individually. Oh, I didn't screenshot the rest, but the rest were this same type of style. But as much as I love all of these things individually, when that's all together and it's all a set, it just feels off, right? It's the same thing with living room sets, but when everything is so matching, it just does not feel right. Couch, again, nothing special, but I think the shape of it is relatively nice and it would be a great reupholster. I'm pretty sure this was listed for free. Free IKEA furniture, the EVAR unit, shelving, stuff like that. I think I was just thinking of this for my storage unit, but I'm not mad at these specific shelves as like a built-in wall storage thingy because they are solid pine, so they are at the very least real wood. But yeah, I did at one point make kind of an armoire out of one of these and 2 of the drawer units. I'll see if I have a picture that I can pop up right here. I don't think it was worth the $300 that we spent, but at least one of the things we got used instead of brand new. So that made it slightly better. But yeah, no, if you're going to spend $300, I would say go to an antique store and find an actual beautiful armoire. Now, the one advantage of the way that we did it with the 2 drawer units and then this unit on top is that we could take it apart and move it all by ourselves. So this, oh, I wish I got a better picture. Couple striped couches here. It's nothing super fancy. I can't quite tell what the shape of the arms are, and I feel like it's those ones that kind of curve and roll around like that, which I don't necessarily love, but I feel like you could make it work with this particular couch. Like this feels like a very specifically styled couch, and I do love that they upholstered the legs of this couch too. Just a very subtle little detail. Another one, similar deal. I'm not obsessed with the shape of these arms, but I could see this working very well. I love the bold stripe. I love that as high contrast as it is, it's not black and white. It's like tan and navy. And there's also this like extra little gray stripe on the side to like kind of soften the blow a little bit, which I like. Another couch. This is a really bad angle. Is there another picture? Nope. It was free. It looks like a good shape. It definitely looks like there's some sort of cover on here, which probably means that it's hiding something. So maybe not the best couch, but again, it was free. Some nightstands. I just thought these were super unique. It probably is either a wood veneer or just like a wood effect printed onto laminate. So I don't love that. But I think the darker like side pieces and knobs are just like a really cute little interesting detail. Another range. This one was free and it's a commercial one and it works apparently. So that would have been really cool. I think you should be able to remove the back pieces of these things. I think they just screw on. So if you're renovating a kitchen, looking for used commercial ovens could be a really great way to go. You definitely want to ask some questions and make sure that it not only works, but works well and works as intended. But yeah, this would look beautiful in a home. Oh, here's a better picture. Only slightly better, but Vulcan. Yeah. Haven't heard of that brand either, but I think probably just because it's a more commercial brand. So again, definitely look into the brand, make sure they have good customer service, stuff like that. House plants. Was there better pictures? Yeah, those would have been good. These are Scheffleras, I believe, umbrella trees, something like that. I'm all for like one really good house plant. This, I was at a thrift store and Mostly I was like, ooh, colors. I'm curious to look at it. And it was $45. Now, granted, the rest of the blankets in the section were like $20, but still, I was just like, maybe it was bigger than the rest of them or something. I don't know. But I'm just, that price was not okay. I did find one of the IKEA Nijmegen collections. I was really considering getting it, even though I think it was kind of expensive. It was $20 for a lamp. But this lamp is originally $80 at IKEA. And also it feels much more like heavy and good quality in person. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting like a little bit more plasticky, cheap feeling, and it was not that. I think this is something that I have on my list of one of my next oddly specific Design Yum videos. But I've been really into fish recently. Just fish. Just like put like a fish on a thing. It reminds me of that one Portlandia episode where they're like, put a bird on it. So for me, put a fish on it. Yeah. I was kind of tempted to get this, but then I was like, will I ever actually wear this? And the answer was no. This, I kind of wish I got. This would have been a great plant stand. It definitely needed like some cleaning and whatnot, but I love the chrome. I love how skinny the legs are. I love how big the seat is. Like, it's just all of these like little details, all of them together. I just like the design of it overall. But yeah, again, $17 for a stool from a thrift store. Like, that is not thrift store pricing. I could maybe understand like $10. But I feel like these thrift stores are kind of taking advantage of the fact that reselling has become rather popular. And so I feel like they're trying to get into the reselling game, but that's just like not fair for people who literally can't afford anything else. So I have feelings about that. This was a gorgeous dresser. I don't think the details are really going to come through in this picture, but these handles were really beautiful and like built into the drawers, and there was a matched effect on the wood that you can, I think, see best here. And it was in really good condition. Oh, there we go. There we go. I got better pictures. Yeah, really good condition, especially for a thrift store piece. Like, a lot of times these pieces will have a stain on the top, or they'll be kind of gross on the inside, or like one of the drawer slides will be kind of sticky or something. But this one was really beautiful. I already have a dresser that works perfectly fine, so I didn't need this one, but it was very pretty. This couch, I feel like it's 93% there. I really love the wood frame around the outside. I don't know if I love the fabric, but I also don't hate it. I think what I like the least is these like little legs in the middle, which are obviously there for structural support reasons, so couldn't get rid of those. It just looks like a knockoff version of what was fashionable 5 or 10 years before and now has become affordable, but like from back in the 70s. It's so close to being so good. Again, more IKEA shelves, never mad at those. And that was it. Okay, so that one that I mentioned at the very beginning, I know I have a picture of it somewhere. I don't know where it is. I'm going to try to find it. I probably won't be able to find it. But it was, where did I go? It was this Herman Miller Wilkes armchair. It was listed for free because I think the person's kid like threw up on it or something gross. And granted, there were pictures and it was gross. It would definitely need a very good cleaning, but it was a Herman Miller armchair and I would have given anything in that moment to have that. But yeah, anyways, I was so upset to learn that I was not going to be able to have it. But like, even just to be able to have a piece of design history like that feels so cool. And I'm sure it wasn't some like vintage piece that was actually like super expensive, but it was Herman Miller, which like, I don't want to put designers on the pedestals too much, but also like, designers are designers for a reason. And a lot of them, especially the big popular names that we're kind of all familiar with, they're designers for a reason because they design good things. And they're expensive for a reason because their stuff is much better quality. And anyways, above everything else, that will be the one that I remember that got away. So if you like this video and you want to see more like it, make sure to do all of the YouTube-y things to tell the algorithm to show you more of my videos. If you want to help keep a roof over my head, head over to patreon.com/medorakia. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, go to medorakia.com. Bye. If you're new here, my name... Still working? Yes.